Hello and welcome to Reality Recapped, where I recap all of the trashiest reality shows. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Heather. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and it's through that lens that I watch these shows and make my comments. Of course, I have not met with any of the people on this show, so everything that I state is simply an opinion. My channel is a little bit of education and a whole lot of snark. This video will recap Sister Wives Season 18, Episode 9, Battle Lines Are Drawn. The episode opens in Flagstaff. Christine is in town, and she's making food for everyone at Garrison's new house. Janelle, Gabe, Savannah, Gwendolyn, and Garrison are coming over to eat. Truly isn't going to be there. Christine wants to create a space so the older kids will have an opportunity to talk about their frustrations openly. Christine tells us she moved away 6 months ago, and there's been a lot that's happened in those 6 months with Kody, Robin, and the kids. When Christine saw Janelle's boys in Savannah at Christmas, they were just really sad. Christmas is really difficult, she says, so I just hope something's changed. Savannah and Christine are in the kitchen. Savannah's cutting up cucumbers. Christine asks her, "How's school going?" They then play the cutest clip of Savannah when she was 4 years old. Christine says Savannah was the cutest little kid. She took her to kindergarten every day, and she let me do her hair, and she was just so cute every single day. Got back to Christine and Savannah in the kitchen. Christine asks if she's seen Breanna at school. Savannah says, "Yeah." Christine says, "Oh, okay, cool." Savannah continues, "I run into her every day after study hall." Christine asks if they hang out together, since you see each other. Savannah says, "No, I don't talk to her." Christine looks over at Savannah and says, "Oh." Savannah says, "Yeah." Quietly, Christine says, "Okay, I didn't know that." Savannah says, "We just kind of ignore each other." Christine says, "What? That's crazy." Hey guys, just a quick break to ask you to please take a second to like this video. And if you haven't yet subscribed, please take a second to do so. It costs you absolutely nothing, and it makes a huge difference for my channel. Thank you. And now back to the show. We cut to a confessional with Breanna and Aurora. Breanna says, me and Savannah, we're decent to each other. It wasn't super great and close because during COVID, people had different opinions about the rules. So we just didn't know what to do with each other. So we kind of kept our distance. I kind of just feel shocked and confused and like she doesn't care. I don't know what the right word is. It kind of just broke my heart a little because, I grew up with her. And then Breanna begins to sob. Breanna puts her head in her hands and says, "Sorry, can we cut? I don't want to cry." We haven't seen Breanna in a talking head for a very long time. And I'm just so struck how similar her mannerisms are to Robin's. Breanna is growing up in a very dysfunctional household with what I believe are 2 narcissistic parents. She is just a kid who is parroting what her parents have told her. So we need to go easy on her and remind ourselves that though she looks a lot like Robin and she has similar language and mannerisms, she is not Robin. She isn't responsible for what Robin has done. She is simply a child in a very difficult environment. The children don't really have a clear understanding of what is actually going on in their home, and it's probably going to take a long time for them to unravel what is actually happening. They also risk their parents discarding them if they're not in agreement with them. So though they live in a nicer home and have access to Kody, they are probably in a worse situation than the other children are, who have mothers that allow them to have voices and their own opinions and see things for what they are. So let's remind ourselves of that, and really let's not attack the children. That's not fair. Janelle says Savannah and Breanna have no relationship. They ignore each other in the halls. We cut to Christine, who says, "I had no idea. I don't even know what to say to that. I just don't know what to say except that it's heartbreaking." We cut back to the kitchen with Christine, who asks Savannah about her relationship with Robin's kids. She asks if it's always been difficult or if it's just something that's happened recently. Savannah says, "The relationship with my siblings that are the same age has always been difficult. I've never been as close to Robin's kids as I've been to yours." Christine switches the subject. "You saw Dad today. How was that?" Savannah says, "It was fun." Christine asks if it was okay that Truly was there too. Kody hasn't seen her much since they moved away. Savannah says, honestly, it doesn't bother me because it's been so long that he's been absent that I don't even notice that he's not around. In her confessional, Christine says, you just realize how broken things are when you hear it from a kid. We cut to Parowan, Utah. Meri and Jen are working on clearing out the carriage house for renovation so Meri can have her clothing business out there. Meri tells us she's going to get a smaller rental in Flagstaff, but will spend most of her time at the B&B. Jen and Meri are joking around. Sean is Jen's husband, and he's helping remove braces from the wall. Meri says they rope him into doing all sorts of projects for him. In her confessional, Meri leans in and says, this whole having a man around and doing projects for you is like new to me. I mean, it's been a long time since Kody has helped me with anything. Yeah, it's been a long time. He used to, but I haven't been part of that equation for a hot second. And then she laughs. Meri tells us she's currently living a very independent life, but I still consider myself married to Kody. You know, we have our spiritual commitment, our spiritual marriage, and to me, that is so valid. But we have lived very separate lives for quite a number of years. Meri asks Sean, how does it feel that your wife is best friends with a polygamist? He replies, awesome. Jen and Meri both laugh. Meri asks, are you jealous? Sean says no, but winks at Meri. In her confessional, Meri says there's never been any issue with Sean and Jen due to the fact that she's in a polygamous family. I mean, it's nice to be looked at as just a person instead of just judged for, oh my gosh, she lives this weird lifestyle. You know, that's not the kind of people they are. Meri says having this fun, playful relationship with Jen is just really easy. And when it's really easy, it's just what you're drawn to. Meri says she's had relationships like that with everyone in her family, except for Janelle. Like, they didn't laugh a lot together, and they didn't have that close bond. But she had that with every other family member. And she just wishes that she had those kinds of relationships with her family now. But she just doesn't. Jen asks Sean if she's his favorite wife. He nods yes. Meri says when a polygamist has a favorite wife, it definitely doesn't work. Now we cut to Christine in her confessional. I've seen some plural families where there was a favorite, and I'm like, that's not okay. We cut to Janelle, who says he can't have a favorite. He has to grow beyond his normal selfish capacity. This guy? Janelle continues. He has to be able to love all of these women in their own way and give them adequate time and connection. We cut to Kody, who unsurprisingly has an entirely different take. He says, you know, in plural marriage, if a man has a favorite wife, it really has to do with loyalty.
If you don't feel loyalty for a wife, she's definitely, you're going to struggle with her.
Most men fail, obviously.
Brutal. I love it. Now we cut back to Garrison's house. Gabe has come over, and Christine greets him with a warm hug. In her confessional, Christine tells us Gwendolyn and Gabe are moving in with Garrison. Christine doesn't think it's a good idea. Gabe says he's moving in probably this weekend. He's been able to get someone to take over his lease. Janelle says there's something about living with someone who actually cares if you come home at night or if you don't come home at all. Christine says they're very different politically and just beliefs in general, so they're very, very different. Kody took Truly, Christine says. He doesn't usually ask when I come into town, so I just asked him this time, can you just babysit Truly for me? And he asked if she could spend the night, and I said, yeah. Okay, so major pet peeve here. When people refer to dads spending time with their kids and referring to it as babysitting, that is not babysitting. If it is your child, that's called fathering. Can you father your child, Kody? Fathering, not babysitting. In her confessional, Christine tells us Truly was super excited. She thinks that her and Kody have a great relationship, so it's great. Christine says she felt like the best way to preserve Truly's relationship with Kody was to move her away from him. And I know it sounds bizarre. She says, I know it doesn't quite compute. It's almost like I froze it in time. I preserved it. I took the relationship while it was still good, and I picked it up and moved it, and it's preserved. We cut to Kody, who laughs. For Christine to think that she's saving my relationship with Truly by taking her away from me and she's just preserving it, That is such a BS rationalization. Christine mentioned when she left that she really wanted to get Truly out of the situation before Truly became old enough to recognize the disparity between how Kody treated her and Christine's children versus how he treated Robin. So I think it was actually a very smart move. And I think moving out of the city, at least there's a reason why she's not seeing her dad a lot. If they live in the same city, those excuses don't make such sense anymore. We cut back to the family eating dinner. Janelle asks, "You haven't seen your dad for a while, right?" Gabe answers, "Nope." Janelle asks if they've heard from him. Garrison and Gabe both respond at the same time, "Nope." Gabe continues, "I remember him saying something along the lines of he only cares about his minor children or something like that." Christine says, "I'm sorry." In her confessional, Janelle says, "I can observe that Kody seems to have trouble relating to his older children, and he seems to dote on the younger children. And when my children were younger, it was very easy for him to be a father, right? Because he was still kind of like, he was important to them. His opinions mattered to them. His guidance mattered to them. And now because they question a little bit, I think it might be harder for Kody to feel like he's being respected." We cut to Robin in her confessional. Before all the hurt feelings and that happened through COVID, Kody's relationship with his older children, a lot of them were really, really good. Christine left and all that changed. You know the saying, like correlation does not equal causation? It's a very common saying in research studies. And the meaning is that just because two events occur at the same time doesn't mean that one caused the other. In this case, Robin is saying that Christine left. And as a result, Kody's relationships with his kids are bad. Of course, this is ridiculous. I think we've all witnessed how Kody has destroyed his relationships with his kids, and it had nothing to do with Christine or her leaving. Garrison says, "Since I last talked to Dad, I bought a house, I've gotten into school, and I got the car that I wanted, that he told me I should never get." Ooh, what car is that? I'm very curious. And what does Kody think is a bad car? This guy's driving motorcycles. Christine asks, "And he doesn't know anything about what's going on in your life?" Garrison answers, "No, he doesn't care to." Then we cut to Kody, who says, "I've reached out to Garrison and Gabriel. I reached out to them just before Christmas, and I reached out to them, after. They're blocking me. They're not interested in talking to me." So between Kody and the boys, who do I think is actually telling the truth? Definitely the boys, because Kody, we know, is a unreliable narrator at best. I don't think he's reaching out, but I think he realizes how bad that looks. So he's like, "Yeah, I'm reaching out. They're just blocking me." No, dude. In the same way that you're reaching out to Savannah, who's done nothing wrong to you. Okay. Gwen comes over and joins the rest of the family for dessert. Christine asks the kids, "What did happen with you guys and Robin?" We cut to Gwen, who's telling Christine that they were discussing Secret Santa for Christmas. And Robin was like, "We should do it over Zoom so that, everyone can see one another." And she's like, "Ariel is forgetting who you guys are." We cut to Garrison in his confessional, and he says, "For the last 20 years, we've had a gift exchange where we draw names and we pick a gift for another sibling for the name that we drew." Christine says Aspen started the text thread saying, "Hey, it's time to do the gift exchange." We've had 3 different versions of who started the text exchange. It was Logan, it was McKelty, and it was Aspen. Who knows? And it doesn't really matter. The end was still the same. The whole family is imploded from this text exchange. We got back to Gwen. So Robin was like, "We need to do it over Zoom." And everybody else was like, "Well, that doesn't have a personal feel." So everybody was giving out ideas. And I think I was like, well, we can make it a competition, whichever moms do it quicker or something. And then Robin made it all about herself and mentioned how there's a bunch of past traumas, which, by the way, where is the trauma coming from? Because Dad prefers them. Garrison agrees. We cut to Robin, who says, "From my perspective, Kody did not choose us. My kids and I wanted to be part of this family and wanted to be accepted and loved by everyone. When we were blending families years ago, there was a lot of trouble. I didn't feel like I had a lot of support from the other parents to do this blending. And there was a lot of things that had happened that were hard. But that started to kind of go away after 10 years or so of it. But then when COVID hit, all of a sudden my kids and I were excluded again. And all of a sudden we weren't a part of their group. I'm no mathematician, but haven't Robin and Kody been married for exactly 12 years? So after 10 years, they were accepted, and then COVID came and they were excluded again? Robin, Kody was at your house the whole time. So to say you guys were excluded from the family is a stretch. If anything, Kody excluded the other family members from the family, not the other way around. Another piece I want to add here is that I think Robin really does believe her perspective, that she and her children were shunned in some way. I think something happened to Robin in her childhood that made her feel like she was always on the outs of social or familial settings. So most people have some of these false beliefs, and it can be hard to even be aware that they are there and how much they color our experiences, because we always look at them through the filter of, I'm always going to be pushed away. I'm always going to be out. I think Robin could heal that piece through cognitive behavioral therapy. That was something that I mentioned in a couple episodes ago. So I'm not excusing Robin's manipulation. I'm explaining that Robin can be manipulative and also really feel truly that she is the one who's being excluded from everything. It's a distortion. It's not accurate, but I don't think she's lying about her perspective. I just think she doesn't understand that she's viewing things through this old history and blaming everybody else for walking away with conclusions that are not accurate. Gwen continues. She was like texting us. They were complaining about trauma and like how we don't respect her as a mother and all of this weird stuff, because I've always considered them my siblings. I still do, because I still consider her a mom. We cut to Aurora and Breanna in their confessional. Aurora tells us, before we got onto the text chain for this gift exchange, we had learned that there were some very strong negative feelings towards us coming from some of the siblings. And we also learned that they were planning on having Christmas without us, without saying anything to us. Breanna says it was very frustrating for her, and she felt very hurt and confused. This makes me really sad. So not only does Robin have this insecurity and it colors everything that she sees, she's also giving this insecurity to her children by telling them all of these things. So again, guys, let's try to remember that even though they might look similar to Robin, they might use similar language, these kids are in a bad situation. What I think the kids don't know, and what it sounds like they think, is that everybody else spent Christmas together celebrating. But that's not true. Janelle celebrated separately from Christine. Christine celebrated separately from Janelle. They came together like 3 days after Christmas. And I don't think these girls know that the kids were told to not come to Kody and Robin's house. They were not allowed to be there. But I don't think they know any of this. I hope that they're able to watch the show, because I think they'll get a whole other perspective. But I also think these girls, if they develop their own understanding of the events and what actually occurred, they run the risk of Kody and Robin alienating themselves from them, because from their perspective, they're going to think you're choosing the other side. These kids are in a very tough situation, and I can't state that strongly enough. If they see the reality of what's going on, they risk losing their relationship with their parents. If they stay in this dynamic and don't really see what's going on, they are susceptible to all sorts of manipulations by other people, by relationships in the future. So let's keep in mind the full picture, not just what we're seeing on screen, but the full picture and what's happening behind the scenes. Christine asks, Gwen, do you think there's like a change coming where like things could get better? Gwen says, no, I see it getting worse, like progressively. And so Robin said to us that like, because of like, we weren't respecting her, she was like, we're not going to participate in Christmas with you. We cut to Robin, who says, all of a sudden I got like this kickback and attitude from the older kids. And I was like, I don't even know why I'm trying. I just felt very, very defeated. We really, truly, my kids and I have felt like we got voted off the Brown family island. That is absolutely how we felt. I believe that Robin does feel that this is all true. This is part of the problem. When you have a distortion, it's really hard to figure out that you're filtering everything through this lens of, we always get rejected. Nobody wants us around. And then you respond in ways that it reinforce that. So this is quite a mess, but such an interesting way of kind of talking about our paradigms, our belief systems, and how they really can shape our relationships and our lives. Hopefully, by talking about this, there's just even more awareness that this can happen to anybody We all suffer from these to some degree. If you grew up neglected by your parents, you might feel that no one else is going to be there for you. And that might be something you have to work through in therapy to get past it and beyond it. And I'm not saying it's easy. It's not. And I'm not saying it completely goes away, but you can definitely improve it and at least deal with people based in reality of like what's actually going on rather than this very skewed distortion of events. We cut to Gwen, who says, Robin said that I'm not talking to you guys anymore. And then she told Mykelti and Logan to tell us that she wasn't going to talk to us anymore. That is some very immature behavior. You do not send messages to kids that you're in an argument with through kids as if they're proxies for your feelings and messages. Totally not okay. If Mykelti were to come to me and kind of talk about what's happening and ask about this, I would say, this is probably going to pull you into conflict, and their relationship should be independent of yours. They need to deal with their relationships one-on-one and not have intermediaries going between. I don't think that will end well for anybody. And it's also, when you hear hard things like your parents don't want to talk to you through your sister, don't shoot the messenger, right? But like, how can you not have some feelings towards your sister who's then still talking to your parents? Like it gets very convoluted, and it doesn't need to be. Let's keep it clean. If they have messages, they need to give them directly or send a text. That's pretty easy to do. We cut to Garrison, who looks very tearful and emotional, and he says, a few days after the confrontation, we got a text message from Mykelti saying that Robin and her kids weren't going to participate in this year's gift exchange, and it kind of hurt. Narcissists oftentimes use what's called flying monkeys, and these are people acting on the behalf of the narcissist. There's two different kinds of flying monkeys. So what is a flying monkey? These are people within the narcissist's friend group or social network that act on the behalf of the narcissist. And there's two different types of flying monkeys. The first is the benevolent enabler. Second is the malevolent enabler. So the difference between the two is the benevolent enabler is not consciously trying to cause harm. They're typically like people pleasers, and they have been gaslit by the narcissist to believe the narcissist's version of events. Once the narcissistic person has effectively pulled the wool over this person's eyes, they triangulate them into the conflict. They create strong incentives in this person to protect and quote unquote rescue the narcissist. I suspect this may be what's going on with Mykelti. I think she is being used by Robin as a way of sending messages to other people and a narrative, essentially. It's another person who believes the narrative of the narcissist and who is on the narcissist's side. I'm not going to go into malevolent enablers, except to say that they are aware that they're abusing the other people, whereas the benevolent doesn't. They really are doing it because they think they're helping. So Mykelti isn't cruel in what she's doing. She really believes that she's trying to help the family, and her role is one that's like building bridges. And the reality is, I don't think that's what's happening. And I want to say, I have never met Mykelti. I've never met Robin. I've never talked to them personally. This is an opinion based on what we're seeing on the show. Christine says, it's a true division. I think you can look back and figure out where the lines were drawn. And a definite line was drawn that day. I don't know what's going to happen after this. If they get tighter next year, I don't know. At the dinner table, Garrison says, Robin turned it into us trying to ostracize her and played the victim. And we said, no, this is about us trying to figure out how we can do this and adjust to your new Christmas rules so that we can all do this Christmas exchange, because we've been doing it for 20 years. I think the kids are, in a no-win situation there. Robin's distortion of events is very firm. Even though they've tried to reach out and include Robin's kids in the gift exchange, Robin blew it up and then played victim. She does. And she's claiming that they're voting them off the island. Your children didn't reach out to them. It was the other way around. And because they weren't listening to how Robin wanted to do it by Zoom, all of a sudden they're not respecting her as a mother and voting them off the island. We cut to Kody in his confessional, who tells us Robin never made any of the Christmas COVID rules or anything like that. That's not her job. That's my job. I made those rules. You mean the rules that you didn't know what they were, so when the other wives asked you for a printout of the rules, you had to go ask your nanny what the rules were? No one's buying that, Kody. And also, when they had like the meeting and they had all those fires on the land and the kids were running around, who was yelling at the kids to stay apart? It was only Robin. It wasn't Kody. Kody also went to a wedding where he wasn't wearing a mask and he's dancing around with all these people that he traveled to go see. So based on behavior, we know who set the rules. And it wasn't Kody. Garrison continues. She took what we said and whatever process she does in her brain, and she made herself the victim by doing that. Christine says, but you guys didn't mean it that way. Garrison says, we told her that we weren't trying to. Like, she was gaslighting everyone into treating her. I think I understand what Garrison and Gabe mean here. This isn't the correct use of gaslight. Gaslighting is such an annoying word. Let's just stop using it, can we? The conversation is also edited, so it's possible that they were using it in the correct form, but because of editing and how the conversation's kind of flowing back and forth, I'm not quite certain that they're using it correctly. But again, I could also just be misunderstanding what they're saying. There is gaslighting going on. Definitely. Absolutely. No questions asked. They're saying she gaslit us to treat her a certain way. And that's a stretch. That's a stretch. Typically, gaslighting is a way of making someone doubt their own experience and what the reality is. It's one of those terms that I think is more problematic. I think it creates more confusion than it helps to illustrate exactly what's going on. So it would be great if we could just get gaslight out of our vernacular. Words. Am I right, you guys? Words and terms. Gwen says for the past 8 years, she's made herself a victim because she's the last wife. She looks at Christine. She's like, you never made yourself the victim. So two things can be true at the same time. Robin can hold this paradigm that she's always going to be on the outs of family or social circles. And those distortions that she has can make her feel like a victim. I don't know how aware Robin is of how faulty that belief is. I don't think she's laughing to herself at her McMansion at night going, oh, I've totally convinced everybody that, I'm the victim here. I think she really believes it. I think she completely believes it. I think she's fully invested. That doesn't excuse her behavior. It doesn't mean that she's not doing anything wrong. It's just, it shows how complicated this whole dynamic is. It's way more complicated than we realize. Garrison says, she is the catalyst of all of this, using COVID to make dad exclusive and then turning herself into the victim and saying that it's our fault. Garrison is 100% right. I do agree that she is the catalyst for all of this. I do agree that her paradigm and what she's seeing is really causing problems for the whole family. What a messy situation this is. Gwen adds, and Dad also chose to spend Christmas with her instead of the rest of us. We've just been living our own lives, and we protested for the sake of your marriage and for Mom's marriage. We protested. Once those are down the drain, we were just like, cool, we're going to do our own thing. She could no longer feel like a victim because she can no longer feel us attacking her because we just gave up. We don't care about her anymore. We cut to Kody, who says, all of you are just kind of jerks. I don't want to be around you, and I'm tired of it, and I don't want to call them, and I don't want to talk to them. So who's being voted off Brown Island exactly? Looks like Kody and Robin are the ones pushing the other ones away. Garrison continues, and that's why I'm done with Robin. I don't care to talk to Robin anymore. I'm not going to do this. I'm doing my own thing. And Robin's mad that she can't have this effect on our lives anymore because we just don't care anymore. And I'm not speaking on behalf of the siblings, but this is what I think all of the siblings think. This is us going, you know what, Robin? Have him. Because we don't care anymore. We're all grown adults that don't need a father figure anymore. Gwen says, I would like to say that I don't care, but it still hurts.
You have to throw it so that it spins. Do you see how I'm holding it?
This episode is so hard to watch, and seeing the kids interacting with Kody and just the effect that all of this has on them. This is a very heavy episode because we are getting to see the ramifications of the fallout of the family, and these innocent children are involved in all of this. But I have to say, it's hilarious that the editors put in Kody being a quote unquote good father and like teaching his daughter how to skip rocks. And they put in the scene where like the rock doesn't skip, it just like goes right down. I feel like they're giving us little nuggets, you guys. Little nuggets of jokes that we have to dig for. In her confessional, Christine says, I think every kid needs a dad. Always. Christine seems really tearful, and she says, I'm sorry is a natural response. And I'm going to say a natural response. I don't know what else to say in this situation. But I'm not apologizing for Kody's behavior. But God, I wish they could have it easier and better. Gwen says, who needs a dad when we have 2 moms? Ouch for Meri. Meri gets thrown under the bus again. Yikes. Gwen says, love is love. And they all laugh. And Janelle says, well, it's not quite like that, but we're sister wives still. We cut to Christine in her confessional. I may not be able to give my kids a dad, but I can give them Janelle, for goodness sakes. Janelle tells the family, when they merged the families, I think maybe we missed some steps. Christine agrees. We didn't merge very well. Oh my gosh, we tried. And I've been accused of bullying. I don't remember bullying anybody. In his confessional, Kody says he never actually accused Christine of bullying. Didn't he though? I feel like he did, but I can't think of a specific clip in mind. Pretty sure. He continues, she was just a crap sister wife. She was just trash talking Janelle and Meri all the time. We cut back to Garrison, who says, up until Thanksgiving, I'd call Dad about advice I needed. But now, no. Gwen says, I still miss Aurora, though. Garrison says, I miss Dayton, and I want to mend my relationships with my siblings. Christine asks, are you going to try? Garrison says, I'm going to try, but if Robin's there, I don't give a beep. Christine asks, so no one's talked to her in person? Garrison says, no, the truths were revealed and we all just said, cool. This is the point where we all go, we're done. Christine asks if he would do a face-to-face with her and the kids, and Garrison says no. And Christine's like, oh, you wouldn't? It wouldn't be good. I don't have the emotional maturity to do it face-to-face with her. Gwen adds, she'd probably just manipulate us or start crying. Yes. Yes on all of those, Gwen. We cut to Robin's confessional. I just realized that nothing I ever would do or say at this point, they're never going to see it with the right intention that I meant it. The love that I will have for them, even the hurt that I have, why would I be hurt if I didn't care? They're never going to see me as anything other than the bad guy. Christine asks Gabe, how are you doing, quiet boy? Gabe says, I don't know. I talked to Aurora a little bit. I see her at school. Gwen seems surprised. Wait, you talked to Aurora? Gabe says, yeah. Gwendolyn asks, you see her? Gabe's like, yes, Aurora's the only one on that side of the family who I've heard say I love you since COVID. And now we cut to a confessional with Aurora and Breanna. And Aurora says that she and Gabe have bumped into each other a few times on campus. There's hugs given, well wishes, I love you, just sort of like checking in on each other. Personally, Gabe has been nothing but kind. I wonder if Robin and Kody know this and what their reaction is going to be to it. I can't imagine Robin or Kody being okay with one of their children having contact with a quote-unquote misbehaving sibling. Gwen says, I haven't seen Aurora in so long. Gabe says, she's always in the science building. Okay. Gabe's like, so if you roll through, and Gwen's like, I'm going to hunt her down. In her confessional, Christine says, this has been a hard conversation. It's really hard. And Garrison's done a lot of digging. He's been very, very vulnerable. In his confessional, Kody says, this is a divorce. And in most senses, a divorce is a civil war. So she's just feeding flames in a civil war. And I think she's got some terrible karma coming. Says the man who left one wife with no assets and strung another wife along for almost 14 years. Your little pony ring isn't going to protect you, Kody. You have got some serious karma coming. Gwen says, oh my God, imagine your father loving you. Savannah says, I still think he loves you. I just don't think. Gwen says, me? Savannah says, no, I think he loves you. I just think he's been... Garrison interrupts her and she's like, all right, guys, that's enough. Janelle intervenes and she says, it's okay. Let her say it. Savannah continues to Gwen. She says, I think he still loves you. He's just angry at you for no reason. I I wish they would go into this more. Why is Gwen feeling more heat than the others? I wonder if it's because she was really supportive and encouraging of Christine leaving last year. Do you guys have any thoughts on this? What is happening? We cut to Christine's confessional. I've told Gwendolyn for years that her dad loves her, but it's not my job to convey Kody's love to Gwendolyn. It's his job. We cut to Kody. Every beep talk, every trash talk, every opinion is absolutely reciprocated. I think the same thing of them. Kody, they are talking about wanting you to love them and are sad at the state of the family. I don't know exactly what you think they're saying, but it's way kinder and way more measured than what you're saying about them. It's shocking. And just to highlight the differences in maturity between a 23-year-old child, well, young man, and a 50-year-old father, we cut to Garrison, who says, if there's one thing that I wish Robin and her kids could understand, is that we all forgive them. If you want to come back and participate in this gift exchange with us, you're always welcome. You know, the arms are open. But if you don't, then we're not going to chase. Garrison at the table to his family says, all right, this is a lot of drama. Christine agrees, this is a lot of drama. Garrison says, I think we should take a break from this, discuss it another time. Christine says, yeah, sure, it's your house. You make the rules. That sounds great. In her confessional, Christine says, going back to Flagstaff isn't just about visiting Gwendolyn and Janelle and her kids. That's like the best thing in Flagstaff. But going back to Flagstaff means this. And she looks around at the confessional space. Coming back to this, I'm talking about the hardest times of my life. And then I have to go back in the past and I have to discuss everything that was difficult. And that's what Flagstaff is to me, unfortunately. I hope they feel some sort of burden lifted. I hope so. Now we shift to a birthday celebration for McKelty's daughter, Avalon, at Robin's house. Kody says she whines a lot to mom and dad, but she gets really enthusiastic a lot of times. Just cute. And amidst all the troubles we're having in the family, I love that McKelty is still warm to us. She still wants a relationship with Robin. She still wants us to have a relationship with Avalon. I think a lot of that has to do with Tony. Tony loves Robin, and they've always had a connection. What? This came out of left field. What are they talking about? This is all new to me. I wonder if Tony or McKelty will have anything to say about this, on their Patreon. If they did, let me know in my comments, please. In her talking head, Robin says, Tony and I really get each other. He's a good kid. I can't say kid. He's not really a kid, but I mean, compared to me, yes, I can. Okay, Robin, whatever. Kody says Robin and McKelty have had a really close relationship. Oh yeah? When she was using McKelty, a then 12-year-old, as free childcare? I remember that close relationship. Seemed to really benefit Robin. Kody continues, frankly, both Christine and I were benefited by this relationship that Robin had with McKelty. She saw McKelty in a way Christine and I hadn't. We cut to Christine in a confessional. When Robin and Kody were courting, Robin just saw that McKelty wasn't treated very nice by her older siblings. They didn't know what to do with her, and Robin saw it. And Robin just said she's super cool, and she's amazing, and she kind of just really took McKelty in and just loved her. I could be mistaken about this, but I have a memory of McKelty being the black sheep. She was a little bit more creative, she was a little bit more out there, and it seems like what Christine is saying is that she wasn't treated nice by her older siblings. Why on earth wasn't that something that you rectified? If you see one of your kids being picked on by everybody else, you intervene, you stop it. And then Kody's saying Robin saw stuff in our child that we didn't see, meaning it sounds like he kind of devalued her. So maybe it wasn't just coming from the kids, maybe it was also coming from the parents. Oh, this one's the loser, this is the one you can pick on. Leave it to a covert narcissist to come into the family and figure out, okay, who's the underdog here and who can I manipulate? And what does Robin do? She goes right to McKelty and she tells her how great she is, which sounds a lot like what? Love bombing, right? Great tactic. So she now has this kid that hasn't been seen who will be very loyal to her because she felt invisible for so long. Makes my stomach twist. Christine continues to talk about their relationship. She's definitely been another mom to Mykelti. She was at Avalon's birth, and she'll be at any of Mykelti's big life moments. Now we cut to Salsa Bra. Wait a minute. What the heck is this place? Josephine's Modern American Bistro? Do they even have nachos? Christine is introducing her friends from Flagstaff to Janelle. Janelle is thrilled. Because I need friends, she says. Christine announces it's her ex-anniversary today. Christine says celebrating the day of our divorce isn't enough. I also need to celebrate our old anniversary. Ex-anniversary. Christine laughs. I don't know. Don't people celebrate their ex-anniversaries? Christy, one of Christine's friends, mentions her divorce. She was with her husband Russ for 30 years. She's been divorced for 1 year. Christine says her friends in Flagstaff are incredible. I met them through Isabel. We all got together to throw our kids a graduation party, and we've just been friends ever since. Some of her friends are happily married since they were like 19, and then it goes all the way down to like divorced and onto their second marriage. Christine asks, how is Russ with the kids and stuff? Christine's friend says, okay. And she says it in a way that's like, if that camera wasn't on me right now, I would tell you Russ is the quote-unquote fun dad and doesn't help them get to activities. In her confessional, Christine says, when you leave and you're divorced, you have this new identity now. It's different than who you were when you were married. And even when you were single before that, you're just different. It's super important to find like-minded people. Christine's friend, Christy, says, it's weird. I'd never thought I'd be here. Christine says, me either. Christine's phone goes off. It's Kody. Christine lets it go to voicemail. In her confessional, Christine says she has no idea why Kody is calling her. Then we cut to Kody. I called Christine because I found out she was in town, so I called her because I wanted to see if Truly was available.
Am I going to take the call? No.
I love this response. It's so dang funny. Christine tells her friends, so last year, before her and Kody's anniversary, I told him, you know what I want from you this year? He asked what? I told him, nothing. Please don't call me on my birthday or for my anniversary. And he's like, what if we post a picture of ourselves? And I'm like, ugh. And he goes, oh, so you don't want to post a picture with me? And I'm like, no. In her confessional, Christine tells us it's really hard to leave a marriage. It's really hard to know when you're done. It's hard to show your kids that you're done. It's hard to show the world that you're done. It is hard to leave a marriage. And then everyone cheers to happy ex-anniversary. In the confessional, Christine laughs, but it still feels good on the other side. I'm just saying, I'm a big fan of divorce. I'm just saying, if people are thinking about it and I say, go for it. I've been thinking I need to divorce my husband. Oh, go. Do it. Absolutely do it. I'm like, you're already miserable. Stop pretending to be happy. It might be terrible advice, but I'm not a therapist or a psychiatrist or anything. I just know how it feels on the other side, and it's awesome. Christine says she celebrates the day of her divorce, which is the day she kicked him out. And then, yes, our ex-anniversary, which is when we were married too. So absolutely. Christine, I think, is on her third drink here. There was the mule, the glass of Chardonnay, and whatever is in this fun pink drink. Or I guess it could just be a pink lemonade. But she seems a bit giddy and loose, as one should be on one's ex-anniversary. Christy asks how Janelle hears what Christine says about her and Kody's relationship. Does it bother you? Janelle says, no. Christine says Janelle has known how long it's been between Kody and I for years. In her confessional, Janelle says, I don't really care that Christine's telling her stories.
I don't feel a lot of obligation or loyalty to Kody right now. So I'm like, say what you want to say. I don't care.
I love this. Oh my gosh. I just love the free Janelle who is like, I'm just going to let people say what they want to say. I don't care. Oh my gosh. To the friends, Janelle explains, they've tried everything. I've watched them fight. They fought for it. But, sometimes it just doesn't work anymore. Christine's friend, asks, so you guys are good? Janelle says, us? Sure. Christine is like, do you mean Janelle and I? Or do you mean Janelle and Kody? Janelle says, well, we've definitely had our midlife struggles. In her confessional, Janelle says, "This is the first time I'm meeting these people. I'm not going to spill all my guts and my innermost secrets. I don't want them to think I'm really weird. I just need to this is not a conversation you have on a first time you meet somebody. At least not me. Not me." Janelle tells the table, "Well, Christine and I have decided that we're really the core fun group anyway. We're thinking about finding some sort of home base that works because the kids are spreading out all over the country." Christine and Janelle joke that they need to have a place like a plig house where they have separate kitchens and living quarters so they can live together but have separate lives or whatever. And then the kids can kind of just come and go back and forth just like in Lehigh. Christine's friends give her a mug that says, "Smash the patriarchy." It's real cute. Christy asks about the other wives and their living situation with Kody. Christy is messy. And I kind of like it. You put on your jean jacket and talk all the crap you want about Kody and how he basically is living with only one wife while he currently has 3. Janelle tells her, but that's not how it normally was. For many years, he'd go to everyone's house. There was a rotation. A rotation. How romantic. Christine says Flagstaff has been predominantly Robin's house, though. Christine says when they were less open about polygamy, she never had girlfriends that weren't in polygamy. So she says, "I haven't had a group of ladies like this ever." Janelle says it was important for us to go public because it was until last year, for 10 years, that we've been doing this. But until last year, it was a second-degree felony to purport to be married. Christine jumps in, "Right, so you can have an affair all you want, but if you dare say that you're with a guy who wants to call you wife and who wants to support you financially, that's a second-degree felony until this last year. Now it's decriminalized in Utah." In her confessional, Janelle says, "Now that Christine has left, people are like, oh, it's polygamy." I'm like, no, it's not. It's human nature. And this happens in tons of marriages, monogamous or otherwise. This is just relationship 101. And look, people change. Another friend asked Christine what was her tipping point. Christine says, "He just hasn't been the greatest dad to my kids." Christine says, "I don't know if I'm for plural marriage. I think if people want to live it, fine. But to be honest with you, I don't see it as a great family structure, and I really have a hard time with it. But I think once a guy finds the love of his life, the other women are screwed." We cut to Kody, who tells us Christine forced herself into his life. She basically just insisted that we be married. I don't care if she's leaving. It hurt initially, but I'm fine. She should stop trash talking me to my children. Kody says this a lot, and I would agree with him if Christine was actually doing that. And she could be. She could be behind the scenes totally trash talking him. But what we're seeing is her encouraging them to try to have a relationship with their dad. And I don't see her saying horrible things about Kody. Kody has done enough on his own to destroy these relationships. Christine doesn't have to say a dang thing, Kody. You did this all yourself. Christine says, "We had this conversation and he basically said he wasn't attracted to me anymore and we weren't going to have a physical marriage. About a couple of months later, I just said, 'You're not allowed in my bed or bedroom anymore.' That was one of the best days of my life. I turned the corner of my house and I just went, yes." In her confessional, Christine admits, "I'm still jaded. Today is my ex anniversary and a little bit frustrated. I'm doing my best. We're having a good day, believe me, but it was still a failure. I just wish he would have sat us all down and said, 'Look, I found the love of my life. I found Robin. She and I are soulmates, and we want to live together for the rest of our lives. So let's figure out how to make the other 3 of you work in this scenario.'" A friend asks, "What's going to happen with the relationships with the other sister wives?" Christine says she'll still be close to Janelle, and our kids will always be super tight. But my relationship with Robin and my relationship with Meri, it isn't going to get any better. It isn't going to change. It's like any family. Janelle and I will always be sister wives. Always. Janelle agrees and says, "Yeah, it's actually easier in a way." Christine says, "Oh gosh, yeah." In her confessional, Christine tells us when they first decided to go public as polygamists, it was to show that plural families are not about control and suppression. We actually had an awesome family. And we loved our kids, and we loved our family. We loved raising this big, huge, happy family. And through the years now I'm showing a divorce and a family that's, just broken now. And now we're just being so vulnerable. But it's okay because it's real. Christine thanks everyone for coming to celebrate with her, and they all cheers. And that's it for this week, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please take a second to give it a like. If you have not yet subscribed, please take a minute to do so. It is absolutely free to you, and it really helps my channel a whole ton. Have a wonderful week, and until next time, goodbye.